Hey guys, and welcome back to this Ryzeal Mitsurugi combo guide. This will most likely be the strongest deck in the room. As always, we have the introduction right here. Then I'm going to show you the first combo with Habakiri Start. Then we are going to look at the Ext Ryzeal Start, and then we are going to look at Ext Ryzeal Start as well as a deck list and some further explanations in the end. If you're not aware of how the Mitsurugi stuff works in general, we won't read over these cards here, but I've made an entire Mitsurugi combo guide. You can find this in the top right corner. If you're not aware of how the Ryzeal cards work, I also made a Ryzeal combo guide that you can check out on my channel by simply typing it in. Okay, Habakiri, let's start here. What are we going to do? So we are going to activate Habakiri's effect like in the normal Mitsu combi. We get the Sagi, tribute the Sagi, then in the graveyard, Sagi activates to grab our ritual like we basically always want to do. Activate ritual to summon from the hand our Habakiri, and then we send the Kusanagi and the Night Sword Serpent. We are going to go Chain Link 1 Kusanagi, target our ritual, and Chain Link 2 Night Sword Serpent to be special summoned. You want to chain block this way, so because of your Kusanagi being the more important effect, you definitely want your ritual spell back. It's less important to have this additional level 4 body that the Night Sword Serpents create, even though it's obviously nice. So here comes the Serpent, we grabbing the ritual here, and then we are going to go ritual, tribute the Habakiri for the Ameno, and then we can activate Habakiri's graveyard effect in order to grab to our hand a Mitsurugi Prayers and respecial the Habakiri. Activate Mitsurugi Prayers, we are tributing our Ameno in order to grab Aramasa. This is only follow-up, and then we pay 800 to also special summon. We want to do this obviously so we can get access to 2 level 4 bodies. If you're not aware, 2 level 4 bodies in Ryzeal Mitsurugi always give you either the Ryzeal stuff or the Mitsurugi stuff, but you will see this in a second here. So now we can resummon our Ameno, and then Ameno can search the Great Purification counter trap. And this is basically what you always want to do with the Mitsurugi engine. This is what you want to achieve. If you can, you definitely also want a Prayers in the hand if you have the ability to, but you don't always have that. You can play a bigger engine. I prefer playing this smaller engine, so you could also play a Futsu, and you could play the Mitsurugi Mirror as well as pre-preparation of rights. I will show you this in the deck list. There are different ways in order to play this deck. I will explain to you in the deck list portion of this combo tutorial. So now we have our Mitsu stuff. Now we go into the Ryzeal stuff. Go for an Infernal Flame Banshee. Alternatively, you could also go for the Ryzeal Duo Drive here. Detach Night Sword Serpent to grab Ext Ryzeal. We have not yet normal summoned, but we firstly can turn these two into a Dynamondo. This is because we want this one in the graveyard. In other combos, this will stay on the field. This has advantages and disadvantages, but now we have the Dynamondo, which can, in theory, on our opponent's turn, at every point, tag out in order to resummon Ameno. But we will also have the Mitsurugi Great Purification to basically save this play against the Called by the Grave, which obviously would be very bad on our Ameno Mitsurugi. So we have a normal summon, we go Ext Ryzeal, normal summon effect. Obviously, it's like in the Ryzeal combo, we grab Sword Ryzeal, and Sword Ryzeal can grab Ext Ryzeal. If you play the Ryzeal Trap, the Plasma Hole, or the Ryzeal Quick Play spell, you could also grab Star Ryzeal here. This Ext Ryzeal is basically for follow-up, since we can't really search with him because we control a level 8 on the field and also a Link 2 actually. Now we go into Ryzeal Duo Drive here. Unfortunately, we have no Ryzeal Grave to attach, but we are going to detach all the materials to grab Cross and Node. At this point, we are going to special summon the Node, activate Node's effect. We send away the Duo Drive, target the fire monster in the graveyard. Very important to play around Bestials. Now we have 2 level 4 bodies, activate our Ryzeal Cross and make our Detonator here. And then Detonator can attach from the graveyard, I don't know, in this case Infernal Flame Banshee, and we can shuffle back 2 Ryzeals in order to draw a card. And we set Mitsurugi Great Purification, and yeah, we pass over the turn. Obviously this Nibiru was a random draw, but what you have here is the Ryzeal Cross's negation. We have Great Purification that you can use with the Ameno. We have the Dynamondo that can rebirth at any point the Ameno Murakumo to destroy the entire field, and also has the Ameno Murakumo's effect to make your opponent discard a hand card. And then you have triple Ryzeal Detonator, destroy, together with an Ext Ryzeal for follow-up in the hand, as well as a Mitsurugi no Mikitu. Those both here, this could be the normal summon, this could be the special summon on your next turn, will already be more level 4 bodies that you can use in order to continue your plays. Another common start that you will see yourself with is Ext Ryzeal, so we are going to show you this here. We are going Ext Ryzeal effect, once again grabbing the Sword Ryzeal to the field, Sword Ryzeal's effect, we are grabbing the Ext Ryzeal here. This time around we can use him actually. We are going to go into our King of the Feral Imps. If you're not aware, this is the one that bridges us from Ryzeal into Mitsurugi. Needs 2 level 4 monsters once per turn. You can detach 1 material from this card for cost, add 1 reptile monster, which will be Habakiri, from deck to hand. So we're going to activate this Feral Imps. If this gets interrupted, then this is also okay, because then we still have the entire Ryzeal stuff and we have basically drawn an interruption out of their hand. So we are going Habakiri, then Habakiri summon the Sagi, and we are tributing the King of the Feral Imps, since this is a level 4 body and this is a rank 4 body, and we can make more use out of level 4 bodies. Grab the Ritual as always, and then we are going to go Ext Ryzeal here, because once we get the Habakiri to the field, we can't search for any more of Ext Ryzeal, so we want to do this first. Dump to the graveyard the Meteorological Aggregator for our Ryzeal Detonator, and then Ext Ryzeal 1. Chain block this with the Aggregator on the Sagi 2, so if there would be an Ash Blossom, but this would be a strange point for an Ash Blossom, but anyways, we can do it, so why not? We are going to go overlay into the Ryzeal Duo Drive here. By the way, you grab the Node Ryzeal with the Ext Ryzeal, attach 1 and then detach 2 in order to grab Ryzeal Cross and the Star Ryzeal. Once again, the Star Ryzeal here, I've talked about this already. If you have more stuff in your deck when it comes to Ryzeal traps and spells, this makes more sense. Otherwise, you could also grab Follow-Up for the next turn, just to show you what different options you have right here. Go Ryzeal Cross, and then we go Mitsurugi Ritual. So at this point, we are basically protected because of the Ryzeal Cross. We are going to send once again Night Sword Serpent and the now I'm blanking on the name, the Kusanagi, and then we summon the Amino Habakiri. Now in the next chain, once again you go chain link 1 Kusanagi, get back the Rituals, chain link 2 Serpent to summon back. And then we get our bodies here, so there comes our Serpent, and there comes our Ritual spell back to the hand. That's nice. Now we're going to activate Ritual, tribute the Habakiri in order to grab our boss monster, Amino, and then Habakiri can obviously also activate here in order to grab us the Mitsurugi Prayers. It's kind of like in the last combo, I guess. Habakiri comes back to the field and we can activate the Prayers. We have not yet attributed Amino, so we are going to do this. You can grab Habakiri here. You could also grab the, now I'm blanking on the name. You could also grab the Aramasa if you wanted to, it doesn't really matter, it's just follow-up basically. And now because we have tributed our Amino, he can activate in order to grab us the trap and be summoned back to the field. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to use these bodies, since we can't make a detonator with them to make anything. You could also make Lugaras and draw cards. This time around we are going Gallant Granite, grab the Nibiru. I think this is a very, very safe play, since if your opponent pushes through all the cards we can present on the field, we already have follow-up in the hand, and the Nibiru is kind of like the last stopping point that we can apply to ending our opponent's turn, which is a very strong one actually. So I'm really liking grabbing this Nibiru instead of just drawing 2 and discard 1 and then skipping our next draw phase, but honestly this is up to you how you want to do it. We go Node Ryzeal effect, send away the Gallant Granite and revive once again the fire here, and then we can do Ryzeal Detonator in order to attach the Meteorologic Aggregator to this one here. We're going to set Mitsu, Gate Purification, and pass over the turn. This time around we have our Amino on the field. Obviously you could go earlier on, you could use these. Oh no, we have started with the Ryzeal stuff, right? Okay, so then you can't actually, but yeah, we have, so if you're wondering how you can activate the Amino's effect, obviously the discard from hand effect you can always activate, but you would just use the Mitsurugi Great Purification in order to tribute the guy and then bring it back to destroy the field. And this is where, if you have an additional Prayers, which is just a nice card, and we have this thrice in our deck, if you can access an additional Prayers, this is very nice, because then you basically control the time at which you want to activate the Amino's Raigeki effect, because here we are kind of reliant on the Great Purification tributing this one in order to then clear the field. So we have to time it kind of correctly, which makes it a bit worse, but still we have a lot of disruptions here, and also our Nip in hand. Normally this is unbreakable. We also have follow-up in the hand. This once again could have been Star Ryzeal, could have been another Ice or Ext Ryzeal, and we also have Mitsu stuff here. Once again, this could be Habakiri, or it could also be Aramasa. And now let's start with the Ext Ryzeal here. Ext Ryzeal, always a very, very nice start. This is kind of like in the normal Ryzeal combo. We are going Ext Ryzeal, sending to the grave Ryzeal Duo Drive, so we are nip safe in the second tier. Ext Ryzeal, grab the Sword Ryzeal, then we are going to special summon Sword Ryzeal. Sword Ryzeal is going to grab the Ice Ryzeal, then we are going to normal summon our Ice Ryzeal effect to grab the Star Ryzeal Star Ryzeal effect, set our field spell here, and then we are going to also activate our field spell here. Now we can make our duo drive and we can attach from the graveyard a material. At this point we are at summon 5 and we are nip safe since this has 3 materials now. We will detach 2 now, but still this one will have a material, so we are safe from any hand trap here. I always like to put the fires in the grave since they cannot be bestialed. Grab the Node Ryzeal, grab a follow-up Ice Ryzeal. Once again, if you have another Ryzeal card that you want to grab here, you can, instead of this Ice Ryzeal, grab the trap or the quick play spell. It depends on how you play this. Now we are going to go into the King of the Feral Imps, once again our bridge into our Mitsurugi stuff. This is forbidden in the TCG, by the way, so I definitely see this being forbidden at some point with us also. Going to grab Saji here, once again tributing the Feral Imps. Saji grabs the Ritual, you know the drill by now. And then, as always, we go Ritual, we go Serpent, we go Kusanagi, Kusanagi 1, Serpent 2 to be resummoned, and we summon from our hand Habakiri. There comes our Serpent, there comes our Ritual, and yeah, this is basically like before. We are getting the Ritual, Serpent back to the field, the Ritual back to the hand. Next thing we are going to do is activate Ritual, tribute Habakiri for our boss monster Amino, and then we can activate the Habakiri from the graveyard. We are yet missing our prayers. Here comes the prayers. And then, I mean, obviously you could also, so this is something that you could also do, right? I've talked about this before, which having a prayers is nice because then you can control the time at which you use your Amino, right? So if you wanted to keep this prayers, you can keep this prayers, especially if you have the counter trap already in the hand. But using this prayers here means getting the counter trap, and this would also be an advantage against a theoretical Nibiru, because if he nips us here together with an effect Veiler on our, no, this wouldn't even work, but let's say he nips us here and we let it go through, then this could still be reborn because the Nibiru also tributes, and if this gets tribute, we can resummon it. This is just theoretical because in this instant it doesn't really matter, but you could keep this prayers here just to have this better control over the Raigeki effect, but then you would miss out on the trap. So we are activating in a second the prayers here. You can now go for the Gallant Granite, you can do it afterwards, it doesn't matter. Once again, grabbing the Nibiru, you can go for different stuff here, I like this. Then prayers into tributing the Amino, into grabbing the Aramasa. You could also grab Habakiri, doesn't really matter. Keep in mind that Habakiri's effect is once per duel, but we can still use it as tribute. Then we are going to grab the trap and get the Amino back, summon Node Ryzeal, sending the Granite in order to revive always the fire. And then we are going to go Ryzeal Detonator this time around. Don't attach the Ryzeals since we only have 2. Attach something else, and then we can shuffle back both Ryzeals for another draw with the Ryzeal Cross, set the Purification, and we still have the nip. So this is kind of the best and safest combo with the Ext Ryzeal, giving us everything basically, but we also have this nip, and we were safe from Nibiru early on because of our Ext Ryzeal Start. Let me now show you the deck list and explain to you a few things and different like options that you could go for when it comes to deck building. Alright, and here we have the Mitsu Ryzeal list. You can see that this is at 43. It's okay because we have a lot of different consistency tools, so it doesn't really matter that we have more cards in here. We are playing this one Nibiru because we can search it with the Granite. I really like this. I think this makes every combo way safer. We are playing 1-star Ryzeal Triple Ice because it is one of our best starters. It is a good starter, let's say it like this. Then we have this one Kusanagi. We have Triple Sword Ryzeal. You could cut this down to 2 if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Then one Node Ryzeal. We want to search this, not see this. And we play one Aramasa and one Saji, so all of the Mitsu monsters at 1. Then this one Night Sword Serpent. 2 Ext Ryzeals. I'm playing 2 Fuvalosses. I don't want to see more Fuvalosses, and I can cross them out, and they are nice in this current meta. Obviously the Ash Blossom and the Maxis. I don't have to talk about this. Drone Lockbird is also a strong one. Then again, I don't want to see Drone Lockbird in combination with my Fuvas or my Maxis, which is why I have this at 2, this at 2, so I can cross out this because Drone Lockbird is very good against this. We are playing one Amino Triple Habakiri because this is one of our starters. Then we are playing 2 7th Tachyon. Keep in mind that this basically XYZ locks the extra deck, but it is not super relevant. Just keep in mind that Dynamondo or SP would then not work, same as with the Ext Ryzeal, for example, or anything else that you summon from the hand Ryzeal wise. Then we have the Bonfire to search our Ext Ryzeal starter. Then we have triple Mitsu Prayers. Obviously, this is like in the Mitsurugi combo. If you open the Prayers, you can grab the Habakiri, and then it's kind of like the same thing, a bit worse. But what you could then do is just end up on the trap basically. Then we have 2 card buys. We need this to play. Crossout makes sense. We have this one Ryzeal Cross, 1 Mitsurugi Ritual. You could play more rituals in order to hard open this. Then we are playing triple Infinite Impermanence and this Mitsurugi Great Purification. For the extra deck, we have this one Aggregator, 2 Detonator. You can play Evil Swarm or Ouroboros. Sometimes you have multiple bodies that you don't have a use for, and then you can make this guy and rip 1 card out of your opponent's hand. We have this one Masquerade to show off the Semitachion for Ext or Ice Ryzeal. You want to grab Ext always. Then 2, depending on your hand, obviously, if you already have an Ext, then you would not search another Ext. Then we have 2 Duo Drive, 1 to send, 1 to make. Gallant Granite, King of the Fair Realms is very important. Exitor Knight is a must play. Then there's Starleech Photon Blaster Dragon, which you can make to protect your Ryzeal Detonator. This is an option. I like the Inferno Flame Bench. It gives you more flexibilities and some combo lines. 2 Garas that you could also go for, draw 2, discard 1, 1 Dynamondo, and then 1 SP. You could go for a Masquerina, IP Masquerina and SP line in theory here and cut something like maybe the Starleech Photon Blast Dragon. You can also try this out and see which of these rank 4s you will use most often. I'm once again preferring this Gallant Granite to search the Nibiru, but obviously if you have Nibiru in your hand already, then you might go for the Dugaris and draw more cards. So what you could also do right here when it comes to deck building, you could also opt for a bigger Mitsu package or a pre-prep package, yeah, right? So you could play pre-preparation. I just have to find this card. Preparation of Rites, I guess. Oh my god, it's spelled with a, yeah. So what you could do here is you could go pre-preparation of Rites times 3, that is, and then you would also play the Mitsurugi Mirror. Which you need because otherwise you can't search anything with your pre-preparation of rights. This will give you 3 more starters, since this will then search the Mitsurugi Mirror and the Habakiri, and you have seen the Habakiri combo. Then you also have the Mirror, which is kind of nice. So this is one way to make it more consistent. If, for example, you don't have 7 Tachyons, you could do this. This makes the Ryzeal stuff more accessible. This makes the Mitsu stuff more accessible. Both works, since both will bridge into the other one. You have seen this already. So this is an option that you could do. You could also opt to play a bigger Mitsu package here, which would consist of maybe 1 more ritual spell and also the Futsu. This is also an option, right? I like this slimmer package, since this one is the real one that we want on our field. This one is really nice in the pure version. It's also nice here, but we already have a lot of bodies on the field with our Ryzeal stuff, so we can't really make that much use out of his effect to summon stuff back from the graveyard. And since we are not pure Mitsurugi, we can also not make that much use out of the cards we can recycle. So I don't think this is a good option personally, but once again, you could play this with more Mitsus or with this pre-prep package here, depending on what you want to do. Obviously, and I've talked about this in the combo guide, you could also just play other Ryzeal stuff. You could play this one, since you have seen sometimes you have the Star Ryzeal to search this. You can also play a plugin, for example, if you wanted to. I think if you want to play one, then play Plasma Hold. It's better, in my opinion. You could go for more Ouroboros, loop the hand with another plugin. Plugin will give you the ability to resummon this and then loop the hand again for 1. I think that's just a bit boring gameplay. I don't want to really do this on the ladder. I just want to have a bit fun. Ouroboros is just not fun, honestly. Yeah, and then as I already talked about, you could also go for something like the Masquerina here in the extra deck, or you could go for the blanking on the guy, the level 8 guy that negates Photon Lord. This is also an option that you could go for the Photon Lord here, the Number Galaxy Ice Photon Lord. This depends a bit, right? Because it's an XYZ8, so you would have to do this before you go into your Ryzeal stuff. So normally with your Mitsu line, so this does not come up as often as it would come up in the pure Mitsurugi deck. But what you could do is use the Habakiri and the Amino to make this guy. It's important though that if you use this guy, then you use this effect when an opponent's monster activates its effect, quick effect. You can detach raw material from this card for cost. Always detach the Amino because you want the Amino in the grave. This also would need you to have a Mitsu Prayers because you need to revive this Amino from the graveyard then somehow. So you already see how this is kind of clunky, but in theory you could do something like this. I think these are the most important texts. You can also play without the Night Sword Serpent. This changes the combos a bit. I think this body is kind of nice just having this, and even if you draw it, you can in some combos just normal summon it. Like say you have an Ext Ryzeal, and okay, you would then also also have access to Ice Ryzeal, I guess. But in theory, you can summon this in some combos. This is the same reasoning for the Fuvolos. Can also be summoned as a level 4 that you could use. But I think these are the other options that are viable for this deck. But it kind of depends on how you want to do it and where you want to invest your resources, I guess. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you like this combo guide, please let me know in the comments below. Also, like this video, subscribe to support this channel. This would be very nice. And we will see each other in the next one, and obviously tomorrow with the live stream.